Simple pasta salad with broccoli and cauliflower, some red onion, perfect spiral noodles, and a homemade Italian dressing. It's really simple, it's quick, and it's perfect for summer. Let's make it. This pasta salad is really simple, and I'm gonna call it traditional for what my mom would make for just pasta salad. And we're gonna start with spiral pasta. Just those wonderful spiral pasta because they're gonna grab on to the dressing we're gonna make for it. They're gonna go well with the vegetables we put in with it. It's just a really great fresh pasta, perfect for summer, those warm days with like grill out food. So what we're gonna do is I have right over here, you can see water boiling, and I always make sure to salt the water because this is your one chance to season the pasta. All that salt does not go into the pasta, but it does help season it. So since it's boiling, we're gonna add in all of our pasta. We're gonna let this boil, and while it's boiling, we're actually gonna make the dressing. So while the pasta is cooking, I have the lid of jar so I can watch it. We don't want it to boil over because I hate cleaning the stove when pasta or something boils over. It's the worst. So we're gonna make a quick dressing. And why are we making our dressing at home? Homemade dressing will always taste better. This is an Italian dressing, and yes, you can buy Italian dressings, but homemade is just gonna have more flavor, and that's what matters here. And we're just gonna have better ingredients, so that's why it's always worth it. I'm gonna use a small bowl. You could also use a shaker or a jar or something if you wanna emulsify it that way. It's whatever works for you. So we're gonna start with some Dijon mustard. You know, I always start any dressing with Dijon mustard. Not only does it have flavor, but it does help emulsify. And that's what's important here. And yes, emulsification isn't gonna be perfect in these kind of dressings, but it really does help. So then we can start getting into what's gonna flavor an Italian dressing. So we're gonna start with a little bit of oregano. Smells amazing. And I'm gonna use dried for this because I actually think the dried spices work better. And I think you really wanna make sure that you have good, kind of fresh dried spices, because if you don't, they're not gonna have the flavor. So this is my home dried thyme. So sometimes I get a little bit of the stems in it, so I just take those out. But I love when you dry your own at home. Oh, the flavor it has. Just put it right in there. It needs some salt. You know that's always important. And then of course, some just, you know, ground black pepper. And we're gonna put that in there. And then on top of the pepper, we're gonna do a little bit of crushed red pepper flake. Now, if you're like me, you can do a little bit more. If you don't like heat, do a little bit less or leave it out, but it does add a little bit of depth, which is really nice here. So to this, I also wanna add some shallot. Now, I have one ready to go, but shallot is just a little small, look at that, little small thing. And what it has is a lighter, kind of to me, sweeter flavor than a lot of onion. And so in dressings, I do always prefer to use shallot because I think it really will just have a nicer, just more pleasant flavor in the dressing and not be too in your face. And we're gonna put some red onion in the salad. So this is more just to flavor it. Then I'm gonna do some garlic. So I'm just gonna take a clove. For this, I like to use and smash it just because I think you get the really small little bits. It really just gets locked in there with the dressing mix as well. And it also releases the most flavor. When you press garlic like this, you release the most flavor out of it right into the dressing. So I'm gonna make sure to scrape that off, get all that in there. And then we're gonna add a few other things that are actually gonna make this more of a dressing. So we're gonna add some white wine vinegar. That's gonna actually be a nice light acidity. And we're gonna counter that with a little bit of fresh lemon juice. So the lemon juice all on its own would be a little bit too much lemon, but when you mix it with that white wine vinegar, I think that mixture is just, there's something special about that. So we're gonna put that right in. Already it smells, to me, kind of exciting and intoxicating. We're gonna put in some honey, which right there, we're gonna put it in because sugar, sweetness, honey, it balances out other flavors. So then we're gonna put in some olive oil. Super important here. That's what's gonna give it flavor too, but also give it that base of a dressing. I'm gonna whisk this together. We're gonna check the pasta. We'll chop up all those vegetables. We'll be ready to go. So the pasta has been sitting out a few minutes and you can see I just drained it, but you can see it's still hot. And I don't mind it being warm because I think warm pasta like this, which I cook just al dente, not till it's mushy, because you want it to be able to soak in all of that dressing we made. So it's still warm, but I'm gonna put it right in here. This is to me like the fun part, is when you have all these things come together and the flavors. And I remember when my mom would make this, I'd sneak to the fridge, have little bits here and there, because it's that good. So what I'm doing is preparing vegetables. And when I'm getting the cauliflower ready, the broccoli, the onion, there's a few things. Now I did grow the broccoli and the cauliflower from my garden, so I'm using just my garden. That's what I love to do, grow it and then use it. That's the best part. So you can see here, I also am not gonna throw out all these little stems. So like with the broccoli, I'm actually cutting and you're getting some of those stems. I want that. So I'm gonna cut the stem and just keep it. I hate how we end up getting used to throwing things away like broccoli stems and all those stalks of things, because guess what? There's a lot of flavor in those. There's a lot of nutrition. Same with when you have like the little floret here of cauliflower. I'm gonna cut probably this in half, and then I'm gonna cut and just dice up that chunky stem until I get to the bottom of the floret, and then just break that apart into pieces. But don't throw those little things away. Delicious. You don't wanna throw that away. So I have all these wonderful things, and we're gonna add them right in here. So we have the broccoli. Look at the color. It's gorgeous. We have the cauliflower. Honestly, this year I had a bumper crop of cauliflower. What I grew was absolute perfection, and each head was just beautiful and had this like sweetness to it that I think, it really was. So then I'm gonna add in the red onion because I think you need that pop of flavor of the onion in there. There's a little bit of that shallot in the dressing, but you need that onion. So then some parsley. And I here am using the flat leaf Italian. And we're just gonna chop up some. We're just gonna chop up, not only, yes, it does add that fresh green flavor, but guess what? When you use fresh parsley, it actually has flavor. And I think we forget that. We think of it as a garnish. We think of it as just kind of a background ingredient, but it really isn't. It actually has a lot of flavor. And when you use the fresh, it's really good. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sprinkle that right over. So come in here and look at all this, and then I'll get the dressing. I'm just gonna give the dressing a quick little whisk again, just to bring it all together. And this is the magic, which is super easy. We're just gonna put all this dressing all on here. That semi-warm pasta, we'll start soaking that in. We're gonna start stirring it. This to me is like such a fresh, great way. And what's wonderful is, usually we have certain things like this on hand. We're gonna have pasta a lot of times in our pantry. We're gonna have maybe some, you could change up the vegetables if you need to. You could throw carrot in there even. This to me is just what we always would have had, is the broccoli, cauliflower. Instantly, I'm getting a hit of that wonderful aroma from the dressing, everything mixing together. Now, I personally think this is best if you can make it a few hours before, let it sit in the fridge and actually soak in. You can even make it a day ahead, cover it, put it in the fridge. But look at that. Look at that beautiful color. It's just such a good summer, fresh take. So I'm gonna grab a plate. We're gonna try this because I need to know how it tastes. So I'm not letting mine set as long, like at all. But you let yours set a few hours, and those flavors will really soak into the pasta. They'll mix with everything, which is what you want. So you have to get, some of everything in that bite. It's good. It's really good. What I like is, it just is what it is. It's not trying to be something different. It has a great dressing on it that's homemade, but it has a ton of flavor. Those dried herbs we put in there pack a great punch and have so much flavor. And sometimes to me work better on the palate when you're eating it than a fresh herb can, depending in a dressing. Again, you get the fresh crunch then of the little bits of vegetable, but we sliced them up small enough that they just have a good bite to them. They're not too much. They work well with the soft pasta that is not mushy, by the way, so good cooking on that. This is great. This is what you want. And what's wonderful about this is it's easy and it smells delicious. That's the best part. So make this for your cookout. Make it for maybe a celebration you're gonna have coming up. Just make it for yourself because it's that good. What do I hope you do with this? I hope you share this video around, because when you share these videos, of course it helps me, but it helps everyone see good food, homemade, is doable, and we can all do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And it's fun. So gather people around, enjoy it. Check my website, wiseguy.com, for this recipe and all my other recipes. Until next time, make something like a pasta salad, and I think you're gonna like it.